Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the brand new January 2021 original book, City of the Plague God by Sarwat Chadha. This is a brand new Rick Rider Presents book, 383 pages long, plus a glossary. This book was incredible. I was going to say film. This book is incredible. It's about the Mesopotamian gods mixed in with the Arabic Islamic culture. It's about this kid, Sikander Aziz. He and his family are Iraqi refugees who live in Manhattan. He's 13 years old. His brother Mo passed away 2 years ago at the age of 20. So Sikh lives with his mom, his dad, his mama and baba, and Dowd, who is Mo's best friend, who he knew from childhood, from 5th grade where they first met. They've been inseparable ever since. They hang out all the time. So much alluding going forward. Pause. Spoiler-ridden review. End pause. So much alluding through the entire 383 pages of Dowd and Mo being a couple before Mo had passed away. And that's pretty awesome because a lot of I have some Muslim friends and I know that it's like a big no-no. Homosexuality is a big no-no. And it's unfortunate because it's natural. Your feelings are natural. You are allowed to you're allowed to fall in love with whoever you want. You are not in control of your love interests. It's just how it is. So for Dowd and Mo to be very connected throughout this story, even though Mo is dead, was pretty impressive because it's just so much illusion. You have Dowd flirting with this male nurse at one point to get them access somewhere. You have Dowd talking about how important Mo is to him, and then Mo in ghost form, and then in afterlife form, talking about how important Dowd is to him and how Dowd's going to save the day, all these things. So how does this come into effect into a modern society? This book was terrifying because of how reminiscent it is of our current COVID-19 pandemic. So Sarwat actually had to write a blurb in the back of this book where an actual author's note that says, I wrote this in 2018 and did not expect the world to be in where it was come the time the book was supposed to come out. This is a Read Write and Presents book, right? So it's about the Mesopotamian gods. It's the first book we've had of the Mesopotamian mythology, which is pretty awesome. But the plague god Nergal is a big center focal point of an antagonist in this book. This book was supposed to come out fall 2020, and because it, closing down and things of that nature of the world, it got pushed to January 2021. But it's still surreal to read about people in Manhattan wearing gloves, wearing masks, being hauled out on a gurney from this place to an ambulance, and all these things. Overcrowding in hospitals. It's just terrifying reading all of that because we're all still living it. So it's the whole life imitates art, takes it to a whole other level. This book, plot points, and I don't think it was meant to be this, but this is literally 2012's Amazing Spider-Man. You have a young boy accumulating powers, and he takes these powers to fight off these creatures, and then eventually he takes this potion, combines it with a cloud, which goes all over Manhattan. Rain drops down and cures everyone of their illnesses, right? That's literally the plot of The Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's Amazing Spider-Man in 2012. And then here we are in 2021 with City of the Plague God. Sikander Aziz. Sikander is the Arabic version of Alexander, after Alexander the Great. Alexander, ruled his Macedonian Empire, was out through main parts of Persia, which is now broken up into different countries, which is now known as the Middle East, but Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, etc. But to have Sick, right? They call him Sick all the time, S-I-K, Sick. To have Sick reminiscent of the Peter Parker character, and to have Nergal reminiscent of the Lizard character, and then literally combining a potion, which is really a perfume, called Mo's Promise, distilled thanks to Dowd from the Flower of Immortality, again, going to the Gilgamesh stories. It's pretty cool how similar the stories were. I don't know the Mesopotamian myths at all, whether or not like Marvel's story the 2012 Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, was based off of a Mesopotamian myth? I don't know, but I really want to find out because it's the same story, and I love both stories equally for various reasons. So this book is just so quick. It's 41 chapters long in 383 pages. I have a very short attention span. I love short chapters. I love short chapters because you feel more accomplished when you read a short chapter than a 30-page chapter. I love my Rick Riordan books. I do, but sometimes it's hard to get through a chapter, even though the story is fantastic. That chapter could have been broken up into 3 chapters, and I love that Sarwat did that because a lot of the chapters could have been easily combined as a Rick Riordan book, but he didn't have to do it, so it was pretty neat on that front. So Sick teams up with Dowd at some various points through his family's deli as it gets, demolished by some demons. Nurgle is a god of, he's a plague god. His sister Ishtar is the goddess of love and war. She has an adoptive daughter, Belet, who is in school with Sick. So they all go on different quests and adventures at some various point, and who's fighting who when, and who needs to do what where, and Sick's parents are in the hospital from this plague that started because of these demons that Nurgle had sent. But Nurgle is looking for the immortality flower, the flower of immortality, that Mo accidentally found in Iraq when he was there, trying to do some botanist adventures or something like that. He wanted to be a botanist, Mo, but he died in a motorcycle accident when he got home. He's like 7 years older than Sick, 5 years older than Sick, something like that. So it's cool just having all these little plot points trickled in throughout the story, but it all connects to each other. Dowd had distilled the flower from Mo's garden in Greenwich Village prior to it being paved over, and that's Mo's promise, is the perfume that was diluted to then add to the storm cloud to then save all of Manhattan. The 8 million people of Manhattan turn into these monsters because Nurgle wants is bored, and he just wants to turn everyone into monsters because he can. Nurgle fighting Ishtar, and then Nurgle killing Ishtar, but then Ishtar coming back in Carnavi, which is the Netherworld, which is their underworld, Mesopotamian-wise. But it was very interesting having the Islamic mindset, the Islamic, Allah, or someone said Muhammad, and then Sick automatically said Muhammad, blessed be him, or something like that. There's certain Muslim sayings and terms in this book which are kind of, Islamic text is very similar to Arabic text, but then certain Arabic words are not Islamic words, something like that. But then there's Mesopotamian words throughout there as well. So it's really interesting to see the different layers of culture being thrown onto this 13-year-old in the middle of Manhattan. Not midtown. I mean, some parts take place in Central Park, but this is like Greenwich Village. So like Union Street, 14th, Union, Square, 14th Street, that whole middle south of Manhattan to the west chunk. I want to try some Baghdad sauce. I know it's very spicy, but yeah, this book was great. Made me hungry a lot because I love Middle Eastern food. You don't really eat it that much, but you don't really see it that much. But when you do see it and you find a good place, incredible. Yeah, I really want there to be a sequel. I would have loved for Dowd or Mo to, because Mo and Seek team up in the underworld at some point to do a little adventure, the Netherworld, because Sick is kind of immortal because he inadvertently touched the pollen from the immortality flower when Mo gave it to him. But I would have loved team ups. But I would have loved Mo or Dowd to have said, yes, I was dating so and so. I get it. Muslims are very against homosexuality. It's a part of their religion. It's unfortunate because, like I said, you cannot control who you fall in love with. But I thought it was appropriate to keep the illusion going, the alluding going, ALLUDING, alluding, because it's important to the character development. Sick knew that Mo was a big fan of Dowd's because Dowd wants to be an actor, and Sick knew that Dowd was a big fan of Mo's. That's why Dowd moved in with them once Mo passed away. But he's a kid. He didn't really understand why so much. But now that he's older, he's now starting to understand. And it's cool. It's cool getting that, confirmation of acceptance from Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, saying how special Dowd is. Dowd's not dead, but I think we were just so spoiled with Rick Riordan giving us Will and Nico, the whole Solangelo canon of a couple, shipping wise. So we just, in my mind, I figured like, oh, any Rick Riordan Presents book is going to throw in, the words, "This is my boyfriend." But each author's different. I get it. This is still an incredible, incredible book. One of my absolute favorites, especially within the Rick Riordan Presents banner. I don't know if this is 1 or 2. Stormrunner is by far has been my favorite trilogy-wise, book-wise, continuous stories-wise of the Rick Riordan Presents books. But the City of the Plague God go above the Stormrunner. I have to think about this. I have to revisit Stormrunner because this book was incredible. Loved it. That's all I got. Mahalo.